Hello, I am here to do the Love Lamp tutorial. So let's get started. All right, so this painting is done on a standard size canvas, rectangle canvas. My colors are ultramarine blue, black, white, yellow, and some of that rust color. Let's see. Also, we have a stencil for this. And we have enough for probably each aisle to have their own stencil that they'll have to share. And brushes, pretty much our standard brushes that we use all the time. Big square, filbert, and little round. You're also going to need chalk and a pencil. Okay. Let's see. And if you don't, you could use a Sharpie versus the pencil as well, but I would use a pencil. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to start with the background. And so what you're going to want them to do is lay their stencil out so that they can see how much room it's going to take up. Because they need to know where the glow is, right? So their glow is going to take up a lot of this canvas. I guess you could have them make like just a couple little marks, just really light and faint. Just kind of around this, some little dotted lines. Okay, so we're going to start with our big brush. And we're going to work on this background. So I'm going to start with my glowy part first. So I'm going to mix up some white and yellow. I like to call this Port of Subs Mayo Mustard. It's kind of a cornbread color. Okay, so we're just going to start down here in this corner. And I'm just using this crisscrossy stroke. Sometimes it's good to actually show them the stroke too, like in slow motion. Just flip-flopping that brush. It's little short strokes. A lot of times I see people going, and they can, but when it gets to where we're going to start blending colors together, it's much easier if they use a little tiny short stroke. Just going to bring this right out to my little dotted line. And I'm painting on a used canvas, so I'm chunking it on there a little bit heavier than you would if they're using a new canvas. Tulip. What are you doing, girlfriend? Don't forget the edges. Okay, gonna give that a rinse. Then we're gonna go into that grayish blue color. Okay, so pull a little bit of white over here. Have them make plenty. First, going to start by making the gray. Just going to go for a pale shade of gray. I usually say have them put a little mark on their canvas so they can see how dark it is. And then we're going to add just little bits of blue until we get the blue-gray. All right, I'm liking that. So I'm going to start up here in this corner. And I've got lots of paint on this brush. I'm going to do that little short choppy stroke. And I'm going to work this in all my little areas, white areas, and then I'm going to start blending it into the yellow. Okay, so once this is all covered, now I'm going to start working it in. Now, a couple different ways they can do this. I would give them an extra piece of paper towel. Oh, poop. And there went my paper towel right into my paint. So I'd give them some extra paper towel or the little half C's or whatever. And you're going to have them wipe a lot of their paint away. And once they don't have a whole lot of paint on that, they're going to come in here with that little choppy stroke. And we're going to start applying a little bit of this. So it's still not super blendy. Still a little bit rough. Hi, girlfriend. Still really harsh. So I got some more blending to do. So here's where they can clean off their brush, get all that paint out of it, and just use a brush to start blending this together. I'll do that up here on the top. We're going to bring a little bit of yellow back in too. But there's this option, just using the damp brush, no paint on it. Which works nice. Or they could come in with their little paper towel. Let's get a clean spot on here. And use a little bit of their yellow mixture. To kind of blend some of that yellow out into the gray. They can do a rub if they want to sort of soften that up a little bit. But you're really going to have to explain this well, because this can make or break the painting, basically. We do not want it to end up with this harsh line. So I actually like that rub a lot better. So that's two different ways. I could come back in with my gray. Pull a little bit of gray back in here. This background is really important for this painting. So give them time to work with it. All right. My pressure that I'm using when I'm rubbing is really, really light. So it's just leaving a little bit of color on there. All right, so once you get this blended, then we're gonna come in and we're gonna darken up this corner. So I'm gonna add a little bit more black, a little bit more blue. I'm going to start up here in this corner. And I'm going to work that down a little bit. Work it down the sides, move across here a little bit. And then same thing, they can choose to use the brush to blend. Just cleaned it off. Or same thing, they can use the paper towel and do the little pat and rub. The pat and rub is probably a little bit easier. I'm just looking at my at my glow here. I might just bring that yellow out just a little bit further. All right. All right. So this would be dry time. I'm going to give mine a little buzz with my hair dryer. Just fold that over. All right. It's not working. Why are you not working? Plug in. Hi, Tulip. Okay. So now you're going to take stencil. The stencil is a little big. We'll see how it looks. If it doesn't look right, then we might have to do a traceable stencil. Resized, just a little bit smaller. This is taking over a lot of the canvas, so. All right, so I'm gonna give this a little trace with my pencil. Oh, my pencil's actually tracing here. Make sure I got it all. Okay. All right, so I'm going to start filling this in. If they want, they could start with their little round brush and just get in all those little nooks and crannies. And then for the bigger areas, they can fill in with filbert. Then add a little bit of my paint. We're just going to use straight black. My black's a little chunky. I kind of checked that out. Well, I'm right-handed, so I am working from the top down, and I'm working from the left side to the right side so that I'm not dragging my hand through paint. Just getting all those hard edges. Remind them, though, to make a little pool of water right next to their black, and then bring the black into the water. Because when you tell them to thin out their paint, what they usually end up doing is adding just a couple little drops to a big, huge pool and blending it to death. And it doesn't really thin it out. Whereas if you tell them, put a little pool of water, like 4 or 5 drops of water next to your black puddle, and then add the black paint to the puddle. Then they're like, oh, that's how thin you want it. All right, so now I've got all those edges, so I'm going to switch over to my filbert and fill her in. All right, so I got the lamp painted in. So while that's drying up a little bit, I'm going to take my chalk and I'm going to sketch out the limb. So we got our limb coming down here. And I think this is going to be too big because we're not going to have room for the handle of this. I don't know. We'll see what we can do. I'm going to have my limb come out here. And I'm just going to bring another little limb off of it. And then right here on these little edges, these little sides, just going to make a little, do it with a pen so you can see. Just going to make a little, this is where the handle will connect to it. And then we're going to draw our handle. So I'm going to bring it out and in, and then it's going to go up. I mean, this might work. We're going to see how it looks. We're not going to see that it's hanging off of the limb. That's the only thing. So we'll see what it looks like. If it doesn't look right, like I said, we'll use the traceable stencil. All right, so I'm going to go back to my thin paint, thin black paint. Make up a little bit more. And I'm going to paint. I'll start with my little limb here. Now, since the lamp is wet, we don't want them to get their hand in that, so you might want to have them flip their canvas over. Picking up this limb where it comes out of the top of the canvas and then have it thin down. Okay, and then we're gonna do a few little leaves. I'm not gonna connect the leaves to the stem. They're going to kind of float out just beyond it, making a little leaf shape, and we'll work up. Maybe I'll put a little limb coming up this way. All right, kind of check that out. And now I'm gonna do those little guys on my line. Now, if anybody's freaking out, they can always use a Sharpie for this part. But if they're going to brave it, they need to make sure they're using that nice thinned out paint. So that they get a nice fluid line. Okay, so that part's done. Now we're going to work on the actual glass. All right, so this just right here above this little guy is where we're going to sketch in our heart, and I would have them use chalk if they can. If their color's too light though and they can't see their chalk, they might have to use their pencil. And draw our little heart. And then the glass is going to connect from this here. Okay. All right. So this is drying up, so we're going to work on the highlights of the lamp, and then we'll come in and do the white very last. And I feel like I need like a better filbert though. My filbert's horrible. It has been there and done that. That one's a little better. All right. So where I'm going to start is I'm going to make kind of a rusty brown. So just going to add a little bit of black to some of my rust. Just want to darken it up a little bit. All right, I'm going to take that rusty brown and I'm going to apply it kind of more heavy up here on the top, in this area right here. So actually, you know, it might be a good idea to, let me just get this in here real quick. It might be a good idea to kind of separate some of these areas for them so they can see. So this is like a little rim. And then this is a little rim. Right? Like so. And same thing down here. Because when we put in our highlights, we're going to emphasize those little ledges and stuff. Okay, so I'm going to use that rusty brown. I'm going to come in here into this little section. And I'm not like painting it all in. I'm just kind of streaking some of this in here. This is a little rim right here. It's going to get a little bit down the sides here. Okay, so I've got in all those little sections. And now I'm going to take a little bit of white and mix it in. Lighten that up a little bit. This is where it's going to be important for those little sections. So I'm going to give a little bit of highlight. Our highlight's going to run mainly on the side right here. A little bit more color. A couple little swooshes right there. This little ledge right here. gonna get a little bit on the side here. I'm going to grab just a little bit more of the rest, a little bit more white, really kind of lighten it up a lot more, and red it up a little bit. Pink it up, I guess. And then I'm just going to lightly touch some of these and give it just a little bit of a brighter highlight. All right, so there's the highlights of the lamp. Now we're going to come in and do a little bit of highlighting on our leaves. I'm just going to go back into that really pale yellow color. Round brush. Thin that out. Roll that brush, roll it, or clean it. One of the two. I just prefer cleaning it. All right. So the light is coming from the lamp. So we're going to give the undersides of the limbs, and it can be broken. They're going to get a highlight on the underside. Whatever side is facing the lamp. And if you want to use any of this color, maybe over, maybe just for a little, like a brighter little highlight here. Go for it. All right. And now it's about time to paint in our heart and do that glass. So I'm going to start with, I'm using my Filbert. If they want to use the round brush, they can. they're not going to get as blurry as like glassy looking lines with the round brush. But I'm going to do the outside line, and then I'm going to use that fuller side of the brush to make the reflection marks. And this glass line can go right over in this little part right here. It's kind of nestled down in there. I'm going to fill in my heart. Actually, I think this works okay on this canvas size. It's not... I think we don't have to worry about them putting the handle over the limb and all of that, so... Alright. Just gonna erase some of my little chalk lines here. And that's Love Lamp. So I'm going to finish these edges so it's all nice and ready to go. And I'm done. So let me know if you have any questions. Fun class. Fun painting. All right, I'm out of here.